we've transferred into the Maserati MC Stradale, to give it its full name. I should say Gran Turismo as well. Maserati Gran Turismo MC Stradale. That's the car. And already I've had to raise my voice.
Yeah, I was just
a bit louder just to talk in here.
You have, and that's on automatic setting, 6th gear, and not going particularly quickly.
Not going particularly quickly, but feeling like I am because I'm wearing race harnesses.
Uncomfortably into a gear.
Yeah, actually, to be honest.
They're not very good.
It's one of those things where it's a great gimmick the first time you get in the car, you think, oh, awesome, race harnesses, you put them on. But then when you're heading down to the shops or you're just going down to the laundry house or something like that, you're like, okay, this is really annoying.
This is a pain. What's actually worse about it, and this has been really stupid, or I'm the wrong shape for an Italian. They don't adjust properly because this lap strap is sitting on top of my stomach. It should be sitting around my hip bones, a lot further down. And I can't work out any adjustment on this at all, which would need to be somewhere at the back. I just don't see anything that will adjust to get the belt where it needs to be. I think I would tire of that very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and as a result of that, also the seats in this are lovely. They're bucket seats, they're race bucket seats, and they're very supportive. They're holding me very well, but I have to say they're not as comfortable as the one in the Jag.
No, and that's one of the things that I don't quite get. This is a good car in standard form. It's great fun. They're very quick. They make a nice noise. This is just noisier.
Yeah.
And it's just harder.
Yeah.
And the seats are just more grippy and slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see myself driving this every day.
No, I don't think so.
It's one of these things where you think, right, going up the track, I'm going to have a half an hour, I'm going to spend the track day, and then it's going back into the garage until the next track day.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't be dealing with this on a day-to-day basis.
And just to demonstrate to people just how noisy this car can be, do you want to put it in sports mode?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me work out where the buttons are, because I've got sport, race, and automatic way down here.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, in the middle of these two, I've got traction control off and bloody parking sensors.
Yeah, that's a really weird
Why
one.
is that there?
That doesn't make any sense. Of course, this is sport, but that actually should read loud, and that should be truly sound. You know, that's what they really say.
Yeah, but if you do press the button, it only drops a gear. It's not actually that much louder.
No.
And if I can go back up again, get it back into 6, it's exactly the same as it was. So, for normal driving around, other than it being a bit noisier outside, attracting more attention, I'm not sure what the difference is.
From the outside, it is extremely noisy. I can assure you of that, because I've driven this car previously, and boy, did it attract attention.
Yeah, but it's quite noisy inside as well. We've been paddling down a couple of gears. Give it some stick. Jolt with the controls.
You see, that's the MC Super Fast change, you see.
Is it?
Yeah, because if you're in sports mode and you're doing 3/4 plus throttle at a certain number of revs, you will get the super fast change. Of course, in the time it takes to remember all of that, it'll have been too late.
It'll be too late to actually make the change. Yeah, you're coming down the roundabout, you're thinking, right, now if I can just get the revs, too late.
Oh, it's gone. The moment's lost. Maybe next time. What do you think of the gearbox?
The gearbox? It's not as sophisticated as it should be.
Well, it's not, but let's just say that this is actually the Cambia Corsa gearbox. Some Gran Turismos now, even the S model, comes with the ZF gearbox option, which is the same as the one in the Jaguar XKRS. This one is the Cambia Corsa, which is the old gearbox, which is basically a semi-automated manual. Similar to what they used to have in the Ferrari Stradale, in fact.
You know too much.
I know, it's sad, isn't it?
It's a wee bit. Is that your anorak in the background? Is it over there?
I left you at home today.
As a day car, yeah, it's the gearbox is kind of academic. For a track day car, I think it'd be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
What I do love about this car is the directness of the steering.
Yeah,
it is absolutely pinpoint sharp and is so easy to place. It's a big car. We've got those nicely raised front wheel arches that you can just see beyond the wheel. but it is so simple to place this car. Simpler than the Jaguar, in fact, because although you can see a bit of the body on the Jaguar,
it tapers off.
It tapers away much more and doesn't give you quite the scope for the dimensions of the whole car. This is a really nice car to place, and the steering is lovely.
It's also very well balanced. I mean, through the corners, because it's pretty much near 50-50 back front and back. So
well, you feel that on the roundabouts. It's really nice. The turning is quite sharp. It holds its line. It stays balanced. Although you're not doing anything silly with it, it stays in line as well.
But also the other compromises with this particular car, especially with Gran Turismo, is no rear seats and a big old roll cage in the back.
Who cares? You're going to be buying something like this. I never sit in the back of a car anyway.
It's true.
So why would I worry about it?
I had a real shock of a moment some time ago when I had the other XK on test. And for the first time ever, I have two little kids. Well, not so little anymore as it turns out. For the first time ever, they could not sit in the back of an XK. And then I realized, there is a limit to who you can put into the back of an XK.
That's right, yes. A couple of parrots usually works, which is all you would get in this. But then, as I say, it's a two-door. It's not the easiest thing to get it out of because of the seats. But, it's not a day car.
It's not a day car, no. I think, we're coming to a very similar conclusion with the XKRS. The XKRS actually, I would say, compared to this, is probably a better day-to-day car. But even then, I think we both agreed that we take the regular XKR. And I think that this is the same thing. I would take the Gran Turismo S over this any day.
Yeah. I think there's something about both cars that while it's not fundamentally compromised, it's fundamentally confused. I mean, we look inside this car, love all this sweetie leathery. This is really nice Alcantara. It's really nice. Great feel on the steering wheel, good size. All the finish is absolutely beautiful, the carbon fibre and stuff. But why? When there's nothing else inside it. It doesn't need all of this to do the job that it's designed to do. It needs a lot less. It needs more of this Alcantara on top of the dashboard to take off reflections, and it doesn't need the fancy knob or the carbon fibre blade or any of the rest of it.
The lock is really out of place on this car, isn't it? I mean, it's typical Maserati. It's beautiful, but I mean, I love it. But it's like you say, is it really necessary in something like this?
Not a car like this.
Actually, maybe it should be like the Porsche. Maybe it should have a lap timer on there, if that's what this car is for.
Well, I'm sure, and amongst all of this lot here, which I haven't actually had time to work out because it seems to be economically challenged.
One of the reasons you can't work this out is because it's in Italian.
Well, I don't think that's the problem. I think you get a fair idea from the abbreviations, but it's so ergonomically challenged in here that you would need to own this car for about 4 months before you would actually be able to find everything.
Oh, absolutely. Every time I get into one of these, I'm always confused as to how the electronics works or how the computer works. But overall, though, there is just something about them that I just really, really like.
It's a Maserati.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because it's a Maserati, it's more rare than a Ferrari. It's a little bit like Bentley.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more rare than a Ferrari.
Absolutely.
And because it's a Maserati.
The Maserati, I say, is the intelligent poser's choice.
Intelligent poser? Yes, let her talk that one. Intelligent poser, so it's not like that.
But here's the question though. If you couldn't have the lesser brothers of these two cars, if it was purely a choice between the MC Stradale and the XKRS, which one?
How long do I have to keep it?
No, that's your daily car.
The Jag.
The Jag, yeah. I think it
have to be. This car is just too fundamentally compromised from its lesser, shall we say, sibling to work as a day-to-day car.
Absolutely. I have to say, I would be so torn between them because they both, inspire me in different ways. I love them both. This one is mental, but it is such a hardcore car. I would only want to take this out for an hour and have a good pressure and bring it back and park it. The XKRS, like you say, is a car I could probably drive to work in. So I think you're right. I think I'd agree with you. I think the XKRS just takes it.
The more difficult question would be, had we had the lesser siblings, which one would you choose? And that would be a much more difficult question to answer.
That is actually a very difficult question, actually. I'm just thinking about it now, and I don't know, actually. I don't know. I love them both. I think they're both beautiful cars, do exactly what they're meant to do. They are very evocative, they're very stylish, they're very glamorous, and they go quicker and they make the right noises.
I found the
really,
looks
really
of
hard.
this, to be honest.
It is slightly sexy.
I think it's slightly more aggressive. And it's slightly more aggressive. The Jaguar looks like a snake fish. This looks like a shark. This is a dangerous car.
It is.
And it looks dangerous when it comes
especially with the
towards you.
graphics on there and stuff.
The graphics you can keep. I'm not bothered about.
You can get it without the graphics.
Well, that's lovely. But the shark nose, and the swept bulges on the wings are really, really nice. It's a lovely car in that respect. It's aggressive. And the aggression on the outside suits the temperament and what we have on the inside of this car. But there's too much stuff in the inside to justify that aggressiveness, if you know what I mean. Whereas with the Jaguar, there's something old school about the Jaguar. And maybe that's an age thing, or maybe it's a British thing, I don't know. But
does it not remind you of the old Tom Wilkinson days?
No,
They're sort of popped up and everything. They're a bit aggressive on the outside, but inside it's still a Jaguar.
I'll tell you what it does remind me of. It reminds me of the old and original AMG Mercedes 630, which at the time was an absolutely astounding touring car, saloon racer, but had all the wood trim and the chrome handles and the back seats and everything inside of it, because that's what regulations said at the time. The Jag reminds me of that because it's got all the things that you need and it still has the aggression. This has more aggression than it needs, and I think is a little bit compromised.
It is. I think they should take away any pretense of this being a daily driver.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you're going to be hardcore about it, then just go hardcore. Pure and simple.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
So there you go. We have now given you the definitive verdict on these cars, and you're probably as confused as we are.
Yes, I would say.
Thank you very much. This is Shazad Sheikh and Fraser Martin from Retro Middle East.